The rumors swirled, the fandom held its breath. Then the
Yeah.
teasers dropped, and in an instant, the entire K-pop world was just turned upside down. A historic stage, an impossible schedule. I mean, they sacrificed it all for 1 minute and 45 seconds that literally changed history.
Welcome to Starscope K-Report.
Join Eric and Minji as we ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
So today, we're unpacking a massive stack of sources. We're talking global sports outlets, Korean cultural blogs, all of it. Because we are looking at the ultimate collision of two fiercely passionate worlds.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the global juggernaut of FIFA and the unstoppable force of K-pop. It's a moment that completely transcended music, shattered sporting traditions, and just triggered a cultural earthquake online.
And the mission of our deep dive today is to explore this YouTube headline that practically broke the internet. It reads, "They sacrificed everything for this. BTS secret World Cup performance."
And, as an army who has followed this group through every comeback and hiatus, I can safely say this story is the absolute pinnacle of what a fandom can achieve. It's not just a performance, it's a masterclass in cultural infiltration.
I mean, the stakes here, they were astronomically high. So let's set the scene. The date is July 19, 2026. The location is MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. It is the final match of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Spain versus Argentina. But what makes this specific day unprecedented is that for the first time in the 96-year history of the tournament, FIFA decided to produce a halftime show.
And they really went all out. I mean, they brought in Coldplay's Chris Martin to curate the entire spectacle, and the co-headliners, just a lineup of undeniable global titans. You had Madonna, Shakira, Justin Bieber, and of course, BTS.
Which is a wild lineup.
It really is. But the underlying mission is what drove the intensity of the event. This was produced in partnership with Global Citizen with the explicit goal of raising a staggering $100 million for the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund.
Wow.
Yeah, the aim was to help end extreme poverty and dramatically increase children's access to sports globally.
Which, explains a really crucial detail from our sources. To hit that massive $100 million goal, none of the headliners took a performance fee.
Right, zero.
They donated their time and their platform. But when that headline says they sacrificed everything, we aren't just talking about walking away from a paycheck. The physical logistics of what they pulled off border on the impossible.
It is genuinely mind-blowing when you look at their schedule. Literally the night before this World Cup final in New Jersey, BTS was thousands of miles away in France.
Wait, really? The night before?
Yes. They were performing a grueling full-length stadium show on their highly anticipated Arang World Tour in Paris.
Okay, a full stadium show in Paris the night before. By the time a standard K-pop stadium concert wraps up, it's close to midnight.
Exactly.
So factoring in the adrenaline cooldown, navigating the logistics of moving 7 global superstars through Paris traffic to Charles de Gaulle Airport, and then an 8-hour transatlantic flight.
Yeah, it's intense.
They would have landed in New Jersey with just hours to spare before stepping onto the pitch at MetLife.
It's crazy. We are talking about zero real rest. They had to battle severe jet lag, the sheer physical exhaustion of a massive world tour, and the chaotic environment of a live sporting event. And yet, they didn't just show up and wave. They performed 100% live. No heavy backing tracks to hide behind. Just pure, unadulterated talent on a global broadcast.
And I have to highlight how biologically insane that is. It's not just general tiredness, you know? It's vocal physiology.
Yeah.
Performing live after a transatlantic flight is like trying to play a Stradivarius violin that's been left out in the freezing rain.
Oh, wow.
Because the air in a commercial jet cabin is incredibly dry. It entirely dehydrates the delicate mucosal tissues of the vocal cords. To land and immediately hit those high notes requires a level of vocal stamina that is frankly terrifying, like a marathon runner sprinting the final mile just to secure an all-kill on the global charts.
That is such a good analogy, and it speaks volumes about their professionalism, and, that dedication paid off instantly. The impact on the global conversation was staggering. According to Popcore statistics, out of that insanely star-studded lineup,
Madonna, Shakira, Bieber.
Yeah, BTS became the most mentioned artist of the entire event. They generated 4.1 million mentions and over 5 million interactions across social media.
They outtrended Lionel Messi.
Yes.
On the day of a World Cup final. A K-pop group eclipsed the biggest football star on the planet in digital mentions. The cultural crossover was so incredibly potent that before the final even kicked off, the Argentina national team's official accounts recreated the cover of BTS's airing album in a post.
I remember that. The synergy was unmatched. And for the fans watching closely, the most heartwarming moments actually happened off the stage.
Oh, for sure.
You'd think after that grueling logistical nightmare, they would immediately collapse in the green room or head straight to a hotel to sleep.
Which would be totally fair.
Right. Instead, members V and Jungkook went up into the stands to watch the rest of the Spain versus Argentina match.
I loved seeing that on my timeline. V posted a photo to his social media wearing a very specific red headband with the caption, "Still Red Devils." And the maknae, Jungkook, casually shared a photo of his all-access AD pass, showing the backstage preparation process, just telling fans it was fun.
It perfectly illustrates why their fandom is so fiercely loyal. Even after making global history, they remain grounded enough to just soak in the atmosphere and enjoy the match as fans themselves.
And that's not even the wildest part of this performance. Wait until you hear the secret codes hidden in plain sight that most of the world completely missed.
Oh, the Easter eggs are incredible. But before we decode those, if you love staying updated on your favorites, make sure you're subscribed to Starscope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead.
So, shifting from the physical exhaustion, the most staggering part of performing on zero sleep is that you wouldn't know it looking at them.
Not at all.
The styling was so incredibly deliberate and crisp, it honestly masked any hint of jet lag. But this wasn't just standard, sleek pop star stage wear.
Far from it. The visuals for this stage were deeply rooted in Korean cultural history. When they stepped out, the overarching color palette of the group was red, white, and black.
Right.
Now, if you are an international viewer watching from Ohio or London, it just looks like a cohesive, striking aesthetic. But for anyone who knows Korean football culture, it was an immediate, highly emotional homage to the Red Devils.
The history behind the Red Devils is fascinating because it wasn't even a name the Korean fans gave themselves originally.
Yeah, tell them about that.
So the Bulgeun Angma, which is the official supporters club for the South Korean national football team, it traces its roots back to the 1983 World Youth Championship in Mexico. The Korean team played with such sheer, unexpected ferocity in their red uniforms that the foreign sporting press started calling them the Red Furies.
Right, and when that got translated back into Korean by the domestic press, it became the Red Devils. The supporters club officially founded and took that name in the mid-90s.
1995 or 97, right?
Exactly. By the 2002 World Cup, which South Korea co-hosted, their cheering culture became legendary. They are the ones who popularized the massive, coordinated street cheering, painting the entire city red with the slogan, "Be the Reds."
I've seen videos of that. It's wild.
It's amazing. And their mascot, Chiu Cheon-wang, is a mythical warrior king from ancient folklore. So when BTS walked out on that MetLife stage in those specific colors, they were channeling that exact historic street cheering spirit to a global audience.
The fashion details executed this perfectly. Like, Suga was wearing an authentic Red Devils patch physically sewn onto his outfit.
Yes.
Jin and J-Hope were decked out in all red. And RM, he wore this charcoal tracksuit with red accents that completely nailed the blowcore aesthetic. You know, that massive trend of repurposing vintage soccer gear as high fashion.
It was an absolute styling masterclass. But they also managed to honor a specific modern legend within that historical homage. Jimin and J-Hope were both wearing the number 7.
Now, obviously, 7 is the foundational number in the BTS universe because there are 7 members.
It is, yeah. But in a football context, it held a powerful dual meaning. In Korean football, the number 7 belongs to Heung-min, the captain of the South Korean national team, and a massive global icon.
Oh, that's brilliant.
By wearing that specific number on a World Cup stage, they effectively brought both the spirit of the 7 BTS members and the captain of the national team onto the field simultaneously.
And they wove that intention into the actual music, too. They performed Dynamite, their universally recognized Billboard Hot 100 #1 hit. But what fascinated me about the song choice is the lyric swap.
Yes, I was screaming when I heard that. The iconic opening line of Dynamite is iced tea and a game of ping pong. But for the live broadcast, they seamlessly swapped it to iced tea and a game of football.
And later in the track, King Kong Kick the Drum was changed to King Kong Kick the Ball.
It's a tiny blink and you miss it tweak, but the live crowd absolutely caught it.
They totally did.
And the reaction online highlighted a massive divide in how the performance was consumed. Like, international fans were largely just blown away by the live vocals and the sheer energy of seeing these global icons together.
Right.
But domestic Korean fans, the K-nets, the emotional weight for them was entirely different. Social media platforms in Korea were flooded with the phrase 자랑스럽다, which means I am proud.
Wow.
They weren't just proud of the music. They felt a profound sense of pride seeing their specific cultural roots, their national cheering DNA validated and broadcast to billions of people.
So I have to ask you, is this the ultimate comeback strategy? Weaving so much dense cultural DNA into a 1 minute and 45-second set that it essentially requires a decoder ring for the average global viewer to fully grasp. Like, does that risk alienating the casual audience just to cater to the core fans?
I really don't think it alienates anyone because the surface-level performance is still elite. But it deeply rewards the people who pay attention.
That makes sense.
It operates on two completely different frequencies. It sends a message that says, we know exactly who we are, we know exactly where we come from, and we are dictating the terms of how we bring our culture to the globe.
That is so powerful.
Yeah.
But while netizens were busy celebrating those Easter eggs, the traditional global football pundits were absolutely furious. Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking plot twist that almost got this performance blacklisted by major international broadcasters.
Because when you combine the irresistible, fast-moving force of pop culture with the immovable, historic object of sporting tradition, friction is absolutely guaranteed.
The friction was explosive. Building off that intricate cultural homage, we have to talk about the massive cultural clash this event caused. Because this halftime show wasn't just a fun musical interlude, it fundamentally disrupted how traditional football operates. The bold headline that dominated sports media the next day was, 27-minute halftime show breaks FIFA rules.
This is where the narrative gets highly contentious. The International Football Association Board, known as IFB, has incredibly strict laws that govern the game of football. One of their absolute bedrock rules is that the halftime interval must not exceed 15 minutes.
Wait, I have to play defense for the hardcore football fans here.
Okay, go for it.
That 15-minute rule isn't just an arbitrary television scheduling thing, right? It's about player safety.
Right.
When an elite athlete is playing at peak cardiovascular capacity for 45 minutes, their core temperature is highly elevated and their muscles are flooded with blood. If a coach is forced to make players sit in a locker room or stand freezing on a sideline in New Jersey for nearly half an hour, lactic acid pools, the muscles physically stiffen.
Exactly.
Isn't a 27-minute break legitimately dangerous for the athletes about to play the second half of a World Cup final?
Biologically, you are exactly right, and that is precisely what fueled the outrage from the sports world. I mean, we're not taking sides here, but you can definitely see why the traditionalists were upset. This halftime show ran for 27 minutes. That's almost double the legally allowed time.
Wow.
The backlash from traditional sports media was swift, brutal, and entirely focused on how the spectacle compromised the actual sport.
The reviews were scathing. I mean, The Athletic published a piece that ripped the show as a prime example of the Americanization of global football.
Oh, yeah. They held nothing back.
They described the entire production as slick, surreal, and entirely unnecessary. They even took a direct shot at Justin Bieber, pointing out that he looked slightly bored during his acoustic set, while young players like Spain's Lamine Yamal were literally freezing on the sidelines trying to keep their muscles warm.
And the anger extended far beyond sports journalists. Former England striker Wayne Rooney went on the BBC and bluntly called the whole spectacle crap.
He really said that.
On live TV. The frustration was so deeply rooted in the sporting community that major commercial broadcasters, we're talking massive networks like the BBC and ITV in the UK and TRT in Turkey, threatened to boycott airing the halftime show entirely.
A boycott of a halftime show featuring the biggest artists on Earth. Why?
Because of their traditional broadcast models. During halftime, football fans are accustomed to watching tactical pundit analysis of the first half, not a pop concert.
Oh, right.
Those networks felt the pop show was alienating their core demographic. Ultimately, the BBC and ITV did cave to the sheer star power and aired the performance, but TRT actually followed through with their threat.
No way.
Yes. They completely boycotted the broadcast of the halftime show, choosing to show commercials and studio analysis instead. We have to impartially report both sides here, and it's clear the football purists felt genuinely betrayed by FIFA.
It is a fascinating clash of priorities. On one hand, you have Wayne Rooney and the football purists arguing that the sanctity, the rhythm, and the physiological safety of the 90-minute game must be protected at all costs. But on the other hand, you have the commercial perspective.
Right. Marketing consultants like Tim Crow were quick to point out the financial reality. Entertainment and sports are inevitably merging.
They really are.
By breaking that 15-minute rule and staging a massive 27-minute concert, FIFA generated unprecedented global attention outside of regular football fans. And crucially, that attention drove the $100 million in revenue for the Global Citizen Education Fund. From a marketing and charitable perspective, the disruption was a massive success.
You know, watching the traditional football purists completely melt down over this halftime show feels exactly like watching first-generation K-pop stans resisting new industry trends.
Oh, that's so true.
Right. Whenever a group tries a radically new sound, or an agency fundamentally changes the way a comeback is structured to reach a global audience, the old-school fans yell that the purity of the genre is ruined. But change is always uncomfortable, whether it's happening on a grass pitch in New Jersey or inside the complex dynamics of a fandom.
That is a brilliant comparison. And if we zoom out to look at the bigger picture of the Hallyu wave, this event was a monumental triumph, regardless of what the sports pundits thought. Think about the overarching narrative arc of the entire 2026 World Cup. K-pop literally bookended the tournament.
Oh, that's right. Because a month earlier, Jungkook and other K-pop artists were heavily involved in the opening ceremonies down in Mexico City.
Exactly. They opened the world's biggest sporting event, and then a month later, all 7 members of BTS reunited to close it.
Unbelievable.
They stood shoulder to shoulder with Western pop icons like Madonna and Shakira on a giant earthball stage, leading a global sing-along of the Coldplay track We Dance. It proved undeniably that Korean entertainment isn't just a niche internet phenomenon or a regional trend anymore. It has cemented itself at the absolute center of global mainstream culture.
Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update. We love unpacking these massive cultural shifts with you.
And as we wrap up today's analysis, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We've just watched K-pop seamlessly integrate into and arguably dominate the conversation around a strictly traditional, fiercely guarded, global mega event like the FIFA World Cup. So what is the next frontier? Are we going to see K-pop fandoms driving the narratives and organizing the logistics of the Olympic opening ceremonies? Or honestly, at the rate agencies are expanding, is the Hallyu wave going to become the official soundtrack to the next commercial space race?
I wouldn't bet against it.
Right. When the culture moves this fast, the sky isn't even the limit anymore.
You've been listening to Starscope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.